First Financial, we're just kind of give you a little history on First Financial. We're about a 135-year-old bank, headquartered in Abilene, Texas. We are a publicly traded bank, and we're about a $13.5 billion bank. So we're a pretty decent-sized community bank.
Yeah.
Only operate in Texas, but we operate as 12 separate regional banks. And so, for example, I oversee our Southeast Texas region.
This is Andy Hemmings with Capital Title, and we appreciate you tuning in. We are the voice of real estate for Southeast Texas. We have offices all over Southeast Texas: Beaumont, Lumberton, Orange, Port Arthur, Crystal Beach. We're here to take care of your transactions, whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial, so give us a call. So our guest today, Mr. Blaine Caillier with First Financial Bank. Blaine, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Andy.
Blaine, your title, you are president of the Southeast Texas region. Is that your official title?
Correct, of our Southeast Texas region. We have 12 regions throughout the state of Texas, and they're all different, all unique. And our region is here in Southeast Texas, which is Orange, Jefferson, Hardin, and Newton County.
Gotcha. Well, Capital Title and First Financial, we've got a long-standing relationship with y'all, and we appreciate our partnership with you. And we just do a lot of business together. We love the way y'all do business, and I'm just happy to have you here to talk about that business.
We enjoy the partnership, and you're right, it does go back a long ways. I was visiting with Bill, y'all's owner,
our owner, right?
Several months back, and both of our organizations are very similar on how we operate and kind of our values and philosophies. And we're a Texas-based bank, only in Texas. And we are publicly traded, but we have a lot of the same beliefs, and we act a lot like Capital Title and do business like Capital Title.
Right.
It's been a great relationship with you guys.
Yeah, thank you. And you're right, we do share a lot of the same values, same methods of doing business and interacting with our customers, and really focusing on that customer service. So your role with First Financial, how long ago did you take over the role as president?
So I took over this role actually about 8 months ago.
Right.
And I kind of give you my backstory. And I'm born and raised in Southeast Texas, grew up in Orange, spent a little time in Lake Charles, but then came back to Orange and graduate from Lamar University. And I just, after graduating, I was in the insurance business for about 4 years, and then kind of just fell into the banking business. At that time, we were Orange Savings Bank, and we were predominantly in Orange County. Really, we were only in Orange County and Newton County at that time. And so when I came on, we were getting ready to open up our first branch in Jefferson County, and it was in Port Arthur. So I helped out with that branch, and we got it up and going. And then roughly about 4 years after that, we opened up our first branch in Beaumont. And at that same time, or actually right before we started building, actually, we merged with First Financial Bank. And so helped open up Beaumont, and we helped open up Lumberton. And throughout my career with the bank, I've traditionally been just a commercial lender and just kind of worked my way up. And then I took over as president of our region in January of this year, and then I took over as president and CEO when my predecessor left in March.
Right. Well, it was a well-deserved honor and you're doing a great job.
Well, I appreciate it. We've got a great team, as you know. That's what
y'all do have a great team.
the golden part of it right there is our team, and
isn't that true?
It really is. They do a really good job.
Yeah. Well, and you have been my personal commercial lender for some time as well. And that's how I first got to know you, was when I purchased some properties a while back, and you were my lender, and you remained my lender. And I remember asking him, like, well, now that you're the big guy, you need to put me with somebody else? And you're like, nope, I still got you.
Still got you.
And he called me this morning with, there was a debit from my account to pay my insurance, and it's to a new insurance company. So you personally called me to verify that it wasn't fraudulent.
Yep.
And so I love that personal service.
It's funny. I was actually leaving a customer's office. We did a fraud presentation for about 40 of their employees.
Okay.
And then as soon as I left, I'm driving, going, wide open, 90-0. I had one eye on the road, one eye on my cell phone, one hand on the wheel, one hand on my cell phone, and I was reading. I was like, I had received your text about the podcast, and I said, well, there's an email about Andy right there about potential fraud. Let me verify, make sure this is right.
Yeah,
so.
and man, I appreciate that, because you're right. It was a new company that I'm doing, a new insurance company I'm doing business with, and it was a big check.
Yeah, it was.
And so I like that y'all have those safeguards put in place, because there's so much fraudulent activity out there. And you mentioned you did a presentation this morning on fraud to a group, and I've participated in some of those presentations with you before. It's a wonderful community service that y'all provide. So if you could just tell us briefly some of the high points of what y'all cover in those meetings.
What we do, and what I told the group I was with this morning, we were talking about fraud overall, and historically, you see movies of banks getting robbed, and people coming there with guns and robbing banks, and that still happens. Don't get me wrong, but the new form of bank robbery is fraud, and we get robbed every single day. Man. And there's a lot of tools that not only our bank, but a variety of banks have these tools in place that can prevent it, or at least help slow it down. But really the main way to stop it is to spread the word and educate people. And there's so many people who have never heard of it, and especially in the elders, where we see it a lot.
Yeah.
Especially on the personal side. And so the more we can educate it, the more we talk to church groups, we talk to civic organizations, and then we also talk to a bunch of just organizations that we're involved with. Last week we spoke at ABC, which is a builders and contractors group. There was 100 people there, and it was all business owners, and we kind of focused on best practices for their business, and steps that they need to put in place in order to prevent fraud, and kind of what to look for. And we've done it for title companies, done it for y'all, and so the more we can educate, the better it is. We're just trying to spread the word.
Yeah, and because the ball keeps moving, as you develop new tools to prevent fraud, the bad guys develop new ways to get around it.
Just like AI. I mean, now they can call in and act like it's you calling in. And if if I didn't know you and I couldn't ask about your kids and your wife, and hey, are y'all going to Alabama for the holidays, and I didn't know how to have a conversation with you, it could possibly get by, and it's scary.
It really is scary. It just keeps getting better and better. The technology does. So if there was an organization out there that wanted to have First Financial come do that presentation, who should they contact for that?
They can pick the phone and call me. We'd love to come. I have really three people who kind of it's kind of their kind of baby, and they kind of run with it.
Yeah.
However, you pick the phone and call me, and we'll get something scheduled. And you can reach me at my office, 409-670-9451. Or you can even call my cell phone, 409-670-7158.
Perfect. And I'll put that in the show notes, too.
Good.
Yeah, so Shelby, make sure we get that in the show notes. Shelby's behind the camera here. Well, excellent, and I'm happy to hear that y'all are continuing to provide that service, and because it's going to be an ongoing need. I forgot who it was. They interviewed a bank. You mentioned bank robber. They interviewed a bank robber a long time ago, and somebody asked him. A newscaster said, "Why do you rob banks?" And he said, "Because that's where the money is." And so that's kind of a tongue-in-cheek answer, but it's true. And these bad guys, they target banks, they target title companies, and like they target the elderly too. The elderly have a lot of money, and they can be easier to commit this fraud on.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. All right, so First Financial, y'all have some differentiating points in the way that you do business. So tell us a little bit about what's unique about the way First Financial does business.
And I'll kind of tell you from the global side of it, and then kind of break it down from there. But First Financial, we're just kind of give you a little history on First Financial. We're about a 135-year-old bank, headquartered in Abilene, Texas. We are a publicly traded bank. and we're about a $13.5 billion bank. So we're a pretty decent sized
Good
community
size.
bank.
Yeah.
Only operate in Texas, but we operate as 12 separate regional banks. And so, for example, I oversee our Southeast Texas region. We have a Bryan College Station region, which is similar to our Southeast Texas region. They have 6, 7, 8 branches in Bryan College Station. We have a Fort Worth region. We have an Abilene region. We have a Hereford region up in the Panhandles. And each region, it's managed by each region has their own president and CEO, and each region also has their own local board of directors. And it's very beneficial to us because the state of Texas is so big. We all operate, at different levels and do different things.
Yeah.
And, for example, our Hereford Bank is primarily an ag bank.
That's what I was going to. Yeah.
They do probably 90%, 95% ag lending. Down in Southeast Texas, we can't spell ag lending. I mean, we wouldn't know what to do for a cattle loan. And we've done some, don't get me wrong, but that is not our cup of tea.
Yeah.
And then vice versa, we do some marine financing for tugboats and barges and shipyards. If you walked into a bank in Hereford and wanted to talk to somebody about, borrowed money for a tugboat, they'd look at you sideways and, or not know how to structure it right.
Yeah.
That's the benefit of having the separate regions, and then also having the separate boards for each region, because our board of directors is all local Orange, Jefferson, Hardin County folks. That it's a wide variety of trades, from physicians to attorneys to realtors to industrial contractors, and they know what's going on in our area. And we make all of the decisions local. So, and that's another huge benefit.
Yeah, yeah.
I tell people all the time when I'm telling them about our bank, we're like the best of both worlds, because we are. There is a lot of credit unions in our area, and people are aware of the credit unions. But we're like a big bank, like a Wells Fargo, Chase, from the products and services that we offer. We offer everything there is, everything that you would ever need. However, we operate like a credit union. You pick the phone, you call my cell phone, you call me on the weekends, we'll come do a fraud presentation for your church on a Sunday night. It's just, we're hometown people just like you guys are.
Yeah, that's another parallel to the way Capital Title does business. And as you're talking, I'm like, yeah, that's how Capital Title is structured as well. We are Texas-based, although we have Bill Shattuck companies have branched out beyond Texas, but Texas is our home base. And we operate like a big publicly traded company,
right.
But you can literally pick up the phone and call Bill Shattuck if you had to. And so there's a lot of we're real nimble in that the type of services that we can offer to our customers and to the community. So yeah, a lot of similarities there.
Absolutely.
So when you're looking at these different regions and the different types of loans, that's very interesting to me. And it's important to have local people there, I would imagine, to do the underwriting for all of these different types of loans, and underwriting being, a risk analysis on the way you're going to structure
Sure.
the loan, and it requires a lot of local knowledge.
Sure, absolutely. No, it does, and you're right about that. And and there's some of our underwriting that is done. It can be centralized, but for the most part, it starts with that loan officer.
Yeah.
They're trained, they're experienced, they have, what we try to do is try to have loan officers that have experience in different categories. And, I have one guy that came from the industrial world, and so he knows, how these refineries operate. He knows what these contractors expect. Mm-hmm. And then I have other loan officers that, they do real estate, they're in the real estate market. They do some real estate financing themselves and some investments. And so they know what to expect. They know the returns that are happening. Mm-hmm. And so it's having that experience is very critical also, and very helpful when dealing with a customer and, answering their questions and underwriting a deal, because they know what it's like in the real world.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, I remember with one of the loans you did for me, I picked up the phone, I called you, I said, here's how much I'm buying it for. Here's how much I have to put down. Here's the rent. Here's the I mean, I just kind of gave you the basics, and you're like, oh yeah, we'll do that loan all day long. So you did some quick underwriting in your head because you just know the market and you understand it. So
I always tell people if it's legal and makes sense, we're in. So I mean, and our goal, is to find a way to make it work. You know, we try to get as creative as possible, because there are obstacles, and especially when it comes to income, everybody's paid different. Not everybody just has a straight W-2 salary. It's
right.
People have other investments, and they take advantage of other, tax benefits, and, it can get challenging at times, but we try to get as creative as possible and try to make a deal work, especially if it makes sense. We know it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And does your board of directors, I'm curious now, does your board of directors participate in the underwriting at all, or what's the main role of the board of directors?
They do not participate in the underwriting. As far as from a loan side goes, is, what they do is we're still old school. We still meet with our board of directors every week and have a loan committee every week. Now the COVID world has changed that a little bit, so we do Zoom now, which has been good, and it took some time to get used to, but now it works great. But back in the day, we used to meet when I first came onto the bank, and up until COVID. So for roughly 12 years of my career, we met every Wednesday morning at really the first half of that, first 5 years, every Wednesday morning at 7:00. All of our directors were in the boardroom, and then we changed the time and the dates. But no, we meet every week.
Okay.
They look at loans a certain size. There's a threshold that, they don't have to approve everything. But there's a certain threshold of loan size that they look at and they approve on, and they don't technically do the underwriting.
Right.
The loan officer and an analyst will do the underwriting and prepare a loan package, and then bring it to our directors, and they will present it to the directors and walk them through and say, "This is Andy Hemmings. He works at Capital Title. He's looking to buy, this 12-unit apartment complex in Beaumont. Here's the price. Here's what he's going to remodel it, and here's his financial condition, and here's what his returns are going to be, and here's the rate and terms I'm proposing," and they vote on it. And there's times we go through, we may modify it, and the director may say, "Hey, I'm not, you may want to look into that," or I don't.
Yeah.
There could be an issue. So
well, there's a lot of value in that, to have that other set of eyes on it, because they're all bringing their unique experience and perspective, and they may have some information that would really help to guide that decision forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great.
Like at one time we had an insurance agent on our board, and it was just, walking through a real estate opportunity that they may say, well, you may really want to check on the flood insurance on that property.
Right.
It's, just having somebody with that experience, involved in it really, really helps out.
Yeah. Good. Now, y'all do residential and commercial lending, obviously.
We do.
So let's touch on the residential side just a bit, because having met with numerous of your loan officers, Arkell being the first one that comes to mind, and she's one of your residential lenders. Tell us just quickly about some of your residential products that y'all have.
Really, we do it all. We do interim construction loans, interim to perm. We do all the secondary mortgages. We can do VA, FHA. We also have some MMCT products. We have I-10 loans and affordable loans.
So that MMCT, I mean, unpack that real quick. That stands for.
It's the majority minority
census tract. Yeah.
Correct.
That always gets
yes.
It's for areas where
it's a mouthful.
Yeah, the majority minority census tract.
Correct.
Thank you. But that's important, because there's a lot of those areas around Southeast Texas where the majority of the population is minority, and they've got some special financing terms for that. Yeah.
And it's not just, you would think that it would be, a lower end home or a lower end neighborhood, and it's not.
It's not. Yeah.
There's some of the nicest neighborhoods in Beaumont that are in those areas, and you can get some special financing terms for that.
Yeah, that's very attractive.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we also do home equity loans. We do land loans. We do home equity lines of credit. There are a lot of banks where there are very few banks these days that do home equity lines of credit, and it's a great tool, especially if you've got your home paid off or have plenty of equity in your home. It's a great tool to put in place.
That could become a really good financial tool for
Yep.
people to use. Yeah.
And am I missing anything? That's really all on the residential side.
Okay.
And then on the commercial side, jump into that on the commercial side as far as real estate. Really, we do it all. I mean, we do construction loans for commercial. We do construction loans for spec homes. We do just regular investment properties. We do both owner occupied real estate. We do not owner occupied real estate. We do what I would say some fix and flips on both the residential and commercial. And I say residential, if you have a commercial investor that's buying rent houses and he buys a house that needs to be renovated before he sells it, or he wants to buy it, borrow some money, renovate it, and then rent it out. Same for on the commercial side. We've had people buy underperforming strip centers, go in there and do a facelift, all of the maintenance, and then lease it out.
Yeah. I noticed y'all had one last time I was down at our beach office, I saw TJ's big sign out there on Highway 87 in front of a new project y'all have going down there. So it's right next to Cobb Real Estate.
Yeah.
So tell me what y'all got going on.
That's
down there.
It's a local liquor store. That's going to be Longhorn Liquor.
Okay.
So they're expanding.
They need a liquor store down at the beach.
I know exactly,
Shocker.
Especially with golf cart access. So there you go. And,
Even better.
Yeah, but no, it's going to be a great location for them, and they're expanding their footprint. And that's in our market, even though we don't have a branch in Crystal Beach. I mean, it's we have relationships all throughout the state of Texas, but they all establish with us here with here in Southeast Texas, and just because we have all the different regions in Southeast Texas, but they all we go where our relationships take us. We finance property in Florida in the Destin area. We finance land in Colorado. We finance some land in Oklahoma. And we've done some stuff in Tennessee before, and obviously we do quite a bit in Louisiana just because where we are geographically.
Yeah.
But our bread and butter's here, and we don't go looking in those areas for opportunities. But if we have a relationship that's here in Southeast Texas, we'll follow that relationship and help them out.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good service y'all can provide there. So tell us about some other projects or the financing on some other projects going around in the area that people might want to hear about.
Yeah, we've, there's really, without, saying any names, we've done, several medical facilities in the area. We've done several larger purchase and rehabs and adding on improvements, and we're looking at a deal right now that's a pretty large deal that will be very beneficial to the area. And it'll be it's a property now that has been sitting not completely vacant but fairly vacant for too long, and it's in a prominent area. And it'll be a really it'll be a big improvement for the community.
I like hearing that.
And we actually have two. Now I'm thinking. I wasn't even thinking about. Now I'm thinking about a completely new one. There's also a strip center we're looking at, and there's a group of investors, and it's kind of right in the heart of Beaumont, in the I guess that'd be the Phelan kind of Calder area.
Okay.
And it's in a great location, and it's been run down, completely empty. And we have a group of investors looking at that would go in and renovate it, and it would be, it's close to the higher end homes in Beaumont.
I've noticed a couple properties out there. I live right in that area, and a couple come to mind that fit that description. I've often wondered, I'll drive by, I'm going, when is somebody going to do something with this? Because there's like you said, a lot of high-end homes, a lot of money right in that
Exactly.
area there. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of what we do. Now we also, we do out of our Southeast Texas region, probably, on our commercial side, probably half our loans are real estate, CRE, commercial real estate, and the
Okay.
other half is what we call C&I, commercial and industry. So there's a lot of other commercial
I see.
loans, industry-driven loans, lines of credit for these big construction companies, and equipment loans.
Equipment loans, yeah.
That we do a lot of also. And all of those companies majority of them have an office. They, they have real estate investments and different things also.
Well, with the, talking about the economic development around here and some of the projects you have going, it's going to be beneficial for the area. I love hearing that. And with the recent election, with Trump getting elected, he's definitely more oil and gas oriented.
Yes, he has.
And so, what do you see? Do you see the recent election as having a downstream impact on our area, positive impact on our area?
100%. And I think you've seen it. I've seen it. The markets love the election. The Trump bump, some people are calling it. I mean, it's affected all of us, and I think that we will continue to see that. The markets loved it when he was in office, 4 years ago. And but Texas in all has always had a better economy than the rest of the country.
Yeah, true.
Southeast Texas economy has always been one of the hottest places in Texas
And
because
it tends to be more stable here too.
yes,
Yeah.
because of the refineries. Even when the economy if it goes in a recession, I mean, these refineries have to operate. They have to have turnarounds. They have to do maintenance. I mean, they're constantly expanding, and which is the driver really for our economy.
Yeah.
And we've been very fortunate that we have had so many of these large capital projects come to Southeast Texas.
It's still coming.
And it used to be a multi-million-dollar, a $500 million, $300 million project. But now, if it doesn't have $1 billion behind it, you don't even hear about it.
Can you believe it?
And really now it's becoming, if it's just $1 billion expansion, that's kind of nothing. Now it's like, well, that's a $4 billion or a $9 billion, project. But all those projects, bring, workers to our area. They're staying, in our RV parks and our hotels. They're buying homes in this area. They're eating out in this area. They're going to the hospital in this area. They're going to the doctor in this area. And so it impacts our economy locally, and that's why we've always had a very stable economy down here in Southeast Texas, and I don't see that changing. I see it to continue improving.
That's what we all love to hear.
Yeah.
We all love it. Blaine, is there anything else you want to add to tell the good people of Southeast Texas?
No, that's come see us at First Financial. We'd love to have your business and love to earn your business. And one thing about us is we are relationship driven, just like Capital Title. There's several financial institutions to choose from. We all offer kind of a variety of the same products, but with us, you get a personal touch. You get an officer's cell phone number, and we try to do what's best for you. We're people just like the people that we bank, and we want to take care of you and be your friend and be your banker and build a relationship with you.
Excellent. Thank you, Blaine. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Andy.